Salut, I'm Peach, back in Switzerland for 1 month. This time I took my Canon R7 and a lens a little bit more expensive that I own since more than 1 year now. My favorite super telephoto zoom lens, the super sharp, versatile, relatively lightweight and small for what it is, the Canon RF100-500 f4.5 to f7.1 LES USM. We will look at it and at some photos that I took here in my country while walking the dog with my mom, mostly in valleys along some rivers, some ponds of water, and a little bit in the mountain as well. But right now a few videos handheld so you can have an idea of how it looks and how the stabilization performs. All the video and the footages that you will see have been taken with the Canon R7 and the RF100-500. So we are talking here about a Canon L lens, meaning this is among the best made by Canon. This is why the price is a bit higher, between $2,500 US to $3,000 US in 2024. This lens was released in 2020. We have 214mm long, 94mm large, 305mm fully extended, and a weight of 1,359 grams. If you add the hood and the tripod collar, you get 1,610 grams. This lens is weather sealed. Here you have a sealing gasket. You can use a 1.4 or 2 times teleconverter, which I don't have, but you can insert them only if you go from a focal length of 300mm and above. This is the Canon control ring. It has clicks. You can program that ring to change the exposure, shutter speed, aperture, ISO, AF area, the mode, for example manual mode or aperture priority, the white balance, and the color temperature. Then you have the tripod collar that you can remove by unscrewing that knob. Then you pull on that knob. It is not Arca Swiss compatible. Please go look at some review if you want to buy a third-party Arca Swiss compatible. Personally, I rarely use that tripod collar, so I am okay with the native one. This is the rubberized focus ring, well placed and smooth. I rarely use it as well. Then we have 4 switches, a focus limiter, full or 3 meters to infinity. Next we have a convenient autofocus to manual focus. Since we talk about autofocus, this lens has a dual nano USM motor, fast, silent and accurate. That said, obviously the result may vary depending on your camera. And finally, for the videographers, as we can see, the focus breathing is relatively well managed. This is the stabilizer on and off that offers 5 stops of stabilization. And this is my only complaint about this lens. Here I record a video with the image stabilization turned off. And here turned on. For videography, still doable but not ideal. This is not among the best results I've seen so far from Canon and other brands. But it helps a lot obviously for photography. Here is the cat of my mom, shot indoor in low light condition and handheld at 1/10 of a second. Here we have 3 stabilization modes. One is standard for a handheld shot of a bird on a branch, for example. 2 is for panning, so it will stabilize only in one axis. 3 for irregular movement, and it works only when you press the focusing button. The next ring will control how easy or hard you can turn your zoom ring. Self-explanatory, I guess. I use it depending on what I do. If I know that I will stay at 500mm, I will tighten it. If I have to zoom on birds in flight, I will maybe smooth it by half. Then we have a large rubberized, well-placed zoom ring that works well. 120 degrees from 100 to 500mm, which is good for me in case I have to frame a bird in flight. Next we have the plastic hood that I don't use and that I don't have here with me. It has a little door here, so you can modify your variable ND filter without removing the hood. The filter thread is 77mm. Inside there are 9 rounded blades and 20 elements in 14 groups. Now let me show you some photos among the thousands that I took since I am back in Switzerland. It's a bit more than a couple of weeks now. The first photo that I like a lot illustrates very well one of the superpower of that lens, and this is the sharpness. You can see that this Eurasian coot is tack sharp. Here the shutter speed is 1/1600. I am at 500mm, aperture 7.1, and the ISO is 800. The morning light is hitting well the subject, and we have an absolute creamy background because the subject is very close and the background is very far. The RF100-500 is so sharp that obviously it will help a lot if you need to crop in your image to recompose, especially here with the 32 megapixel of the R7. This is a very cute common pochard. Again at 500mm f7.1 with a shutter speed of 1/1600. This time the ISO is 320 and we can zoom in even more. We have a lot of crows in valleys. This one was picking up a walnut. I think it's kind of a cool picture with a bit of our mountains in the background. 500mm f7.1, ISO 250 only, shutter speed a bit weak with 1/1000. Another duck, a mallard female looking at me, 500mm f7.1, ISO 400, shutter speed 1/1000. Very sharp and very cute. Another superpower of this lens is that it is good for close-up. You will have a magnification ratio of 0.33 to 1 at 500mm of focal length at a minimum focus distance of 120 cm. And it is pretty sharp. So here a few examples at minimum focus distance. I'll show you later about getting even more magnification if you need it. You will see that you can have some very good results. I have not been very lucky with birds in flight, but here are a few. We have again a crow, not the same crow, but still with a walnut, and another crow over a green field. It's pretty sharp. I am probably at 1/1600 of a second, because this is my default setting for action. I had that duck flying right over my head, and I tried to lift the shadows and I tried to denoise it, so it may look a bit too much processed. Here is the original. Here I forgot to change my settings, and I was only at 1/800 of a second, so that beautiful image with the snowy mountains in the background has a bird with a lot of motion blur, which is a shame. But it's still okay as long as you don't zoom in, I guess. You can do also landscape with this RF100-500, which I did usually at 100mm like here, just before the sun appears from behind the mountains. So here we have 4 different layers of light, which I think is cool. My mom needed to go in Sayon to buy furniture. It's a village 40 km away in the east, still in valleys. So I took this picture of the ruins of the castle of Sayon, which I find cool as well, with the morning shadows and the clouds behind. And again with my mom and his dog, we went to Les Diablerets, a village high in the mountain. Over there you can see the famous cable car Glacier 3000, which will bring you to some very high places here in Switzerland, with some kind of suspended tin bridge with a view. We saw a lot of those flying humans in Les Diablerets, another task that the RF100-500 can manage very well. It was fun for me to photograph them for the first time. This one has some cool helmet, sunglasses, and some nice facial hair that will keep the face warm, I guess. Here we have an helicopter taking off. This is Air Glacier, the famous rescue team ready to save you if you are lost in our mountains, trapped in the ice with a broken leg or something. We like to keep our tourists alive in Switzerland, so they can pay our very expensive hospitals. Now, as I said earlier, if you want more magnification, you can add a magnifier. In my case, the Renox DCR250, I had to put 2 step-down ring adapter so I could clip it in front of the lens. With it, I have a magnification of 0.8 to 1 at 100mm, which is usually what I aim for. So this is a B at minimum focus distance, which is around 10 cm, I think. No crop here, just a bit enhanced. Here a flower, also at minimum focus distance. You can see that it's pretty good. And again, the same B a bit more edited, so you can see what kind of result you can get. And some last random pictures that I want to share with you. I got a common kingfisher, and I think it's kind of rare to see that bird in Switzerland. It is super cute with amazing colors, and I could approach quite close at maybe 10 meters, however not for very long. Another interesting bird because he likes to fly and walk underwater to find the food, the white-throated dipper or European dipper. For this one I had to do a quite heavy denoising because of a high ISO of 6400. For this one I tried to do some slow shutter speed handheld, I think between 1/3 or 1/5 of a second. This dog was barking at us exactly near that river that you just saw. I think this is an English Springer Spaniel, maybe. Please comment below if I'm wrong. I saw many other cool birds like this red kite and a lot of buzzard, but always too far. and this focus also was too far, unfortunately.
I like a lot this lens for the excellent sharpness, for the relative lightweight and the compact size, the versatility from very nice close-up to faraway wildlife. It's even good for macro if you add some kind of magnifier like my Renox. So this lens is good for close-up, for macro, for portraits, for landscape, sport, family pets, and of course for wildlife. My only regret is that the stabilization is not that good for the price, and however, obviously, it is better than nothing, especially for that kind of super telephoto zoom lens.